So in this video, I'm going to go through how me and Anakin went from 2 figures a day to 3 figures a day, and how we most importantly did it consistently. Because yes, it's great to hit 3 figures a day, but then what happens to a lot of people is the next day, they're not hitting 3 figures a day. Me and Anakin managed to do it consistently over and over again. And yeah, I want to talk about how me and Anakin basically did that. As you can see, I really haven't planned it out. I've just written some things that I want to go through. And this is just going to be so unfiltered, no editing. And yeah, let's just get into it. So quickly, me and Anakin, this was just some proof that we hit 3 figures. Our biggest day was about $580. And yeah, we've just been scaling ever since and trying to hit those 4 figure months. So I want to go through just a few things that helped us manage to break the 2 to 3 figure mark. And obviously a big part of it is just increasing your ad spend, right? But to increase your ad spend, you want to make sure first that you're profitable and not break even or losing any money, because then you're just losing more money. So to get to that profitable, to be able to manage to increase your ad spend, this is sort of what we had to think about. And to be honest, a big part of it is just your creatives, but also really just understanding your numbers and data, which is super, super important. So I'm just going to go left to right. And yeah, I'm just going to waffle and talk and obviously try and give out as much value as I possibly can. Now, quickly, in terms of KPI standards for your Facebook metrics, you got CPM 15 to 35, CTR 1.5 to 3%, CPC 0.5 to 1.5. This is about dollars. And to walk you through what this is, CPM is how much it costs for you to get 1,000 sort of impressions. CTR, what is your click-through rate, how many people are clicking onto your website, and then cost per click, CPC, how much does it cost for one single click. So briefly to go through how this sort of works. And it's really important to understand these, because these will really help you just become a better media buyer, and also tell you how good your ads are, which is super, super important. So if your CPMs are high, that means you're in an expensive market and you also have high competition. So a lot of that is, mostly like beauty, that sort of market where everyone's doing it. To get 1,000 impressions, it's really expensive. Your CTR, if it's high, it's good. But a lot of the time, if it's really high, it's above sort of 3%, it might be seen as clickbaity, right? More people click on it. However, the CVR becomes a lot worse because it's a bit clickbaity, right? So you want to make sure that you're actually in between 1.5 to 3%. You don't want to be at like 10%, and you don't want to be at 0.5%, right? You want to make sure you're in that range, because if it's too high, it's too clickbaity, and if it's too low, your ad's just shit, right? You're not getting anybody on your website and you're losing money. Your cost per click, if it's high, it's a bad ad, because you're spending more for somebody to click on your ad. And if it's too low, again, it goes back to the too clickbaity. So CTR and CPC goes hand in hand. And then your CPA, which is arguably the most important thing, right? How much are you spending to get a purchase? And you want to make sure that this is very profitable. And if your CPA is really high, then really look into the KPIs that I've just talked about, your CPM, your CTR, your CPC. So if your CPM is high, why is that? If your CTR is high, why is that? If your CPC is high, why is that? And really just understand the metrics and how to just get better numbers. Because if you can get better numbers, your ad will be better and you'll just make more money. And then another sort of aspect to it as well, your CRO, so the actual conversion rate optimization, which is really, really important. I mean, if you can just increase your conversion rate by 1 or 2 to 3%, that could be the difference for you being break even or profitable. And as you can see, we've got a pretty good conversion rate, me and Anakin. This is sort of what ours was looking like on a day-to-day basis, which is really, really good, 11.5, which is just awesome. You couldn't ask for any more in terms of where we were at. Average stores, obviously they spend way more, but on average, an average store is 753. Obviously they're spending a lot more on ad spend, but 11.5 as somebody who's spending 50 to 100 pounds a day is extremely, extremely good in terms of breakdowns and conversion rate. And as well, for context, I didn't really talk about this, but for context, me and Anakin did a sprinter product, and what that is basically we did a product with a quick 50k, we want to make it 50k and then leave. It's not got no longevity to it. We weren't trying to build a brand out of it. We're just to make quick cash, basically profit maxing, nothing else. And as soon as it died, we move on to the next product. That was kind of the goal, because if you do the very, very branded route, you're competing against people who are also doing very much branded routes. And the difficulty is that you might have 100, 150 pounds a month. The other sort of big brands will have thousands to hundreds of £1,000s a month on ad spend. They'll have teams and they'll just beat you. You'll see that your CPM becomes really high, and it's just extremely, extremely hard to, because these people just throwing money at a wall basically, and they can also lose money because they make their actual profit on the second, third sort of sale, right? Their lifetime values is a lot higher. So this is why we did the sprinter product, and as well the feedback and the feedback loop and what we've learned has just been amazing. So that's as well for quick context. Really try and increase your AOV as well. This is super important, and a simple trick for you guys is increase your price. And that sounds super simple, but it really worked. Me and Anakin increased our price and our AOV went up. And you might be thinking, well, if I increase my price, less people will pay. But you've got to think that the people that buy off your Facebook ads aren't sort of your normal person. And if they're already likely to pay what they're paying now and what your price is now, they're very also much likely to pay an extra 10 to 20%. And so I would just play around with pricing until you find your optimal pricing, but you can always charge it high and then go lower, right? Never go low and high. And yeah, you'll see that your AOV will just increase. Me and Anakin did that. We increased our AOV by like 54%, which was just crazy by just increasing price. And we already thought what we were charging for our product was really expensive, but and so we thought maybe increasing price wouldn't work, and yet it did, and we got completely proven wrong. And our AOV just went up, and obviously our daily sales and our numbers went up, and we were more profitable per sales, and yeah, it just goated basically because you're making more money. And like I mentioned, another really important thing is to try and increase your CVR. And if you are at a good CVR, like 4 to 8%, don't try and tweak it anymore, right? It's working. It's already working. You already have a really good conversion rate. And what's the point of tweaking something that's already working? So yeah. And a really good way to try and increase your CVR, website optimization, checkout tweaks, pricing, shipping, all that sort of stuff. Play around with it and see what has the highest CVR. Quick tangent as well, but you really need to understand your unit economics. I'll go deeper on another video on this because it's really important, but really understanding what is your AOV, what is your break even, what is your CPA, what is your break-even CPA? What is your target CPA? What is your target profit margins? These are really important numbers you need to understand because you could just be scaling but actually losing money. And a big thing that happens is people want to scale revenue, but then profit just decreases. And what's the point? It causes more headache. So you really need to understand your unit economics. A big thing as well to us helping was actually switching markets. So we targeted USA, and what we realized, and also a mentor that told us, is USA is only there to scale. This guy that helped us has been in Ecom for 2 to 3 months, and he's not even touched the USA yet because the competition there is super, super hard. And the whole point of USA is because there's so many people. And so that's for scale. And as well, the sophistication in the USA is really high. And what I mean by that is people are more likely to understand that, oh, this is a dropshipping sort of site. So that's why don't touch USA. And I would not recommend USA if you're on like $50 to $100 a day. Honestly, don't do it because we tried it. No sell. We moved to a different market, an English speaking market. And we just, went to 3 figures in like a week. So it was absolutely crazy. And lastly, the most important thing, I don't know why I left it to last, is it's all about winning. It's all about finding an angle. And this is by far the most important thing ever. Ecom at the start, and I think the majority of it is just being good at marketing. It's literally all that is. Ads, performance marketing, media buying. That's heavy on just ecom. That's about 80% of it. And what you want to do is just find loads of different ICP, test that ICP and see what works. And I'll give you a great example. Me and Anakin, we tested loads of different ICPs, whether we were in the sort of toilet niche, so whether that's embarrassment, dirty, scientific in terms of how bad certain chemicals are, whatever it may be. You can see how I've just named 3 different ICPs, really understanding their pain points and conveying that in an ad. And so we tried loads of different ones, right? 5, 10, and then we found one that really worked, and that was the embarrassment of actually the embarrassment of having people over and them just thinking how disgusting your toilet is, basically. And so that's the angle that we went double down on. We created loads and loads of different creatives. So I'll show you here. So the angle was, sorry if my writing is absolutely horror, but the angle was embarrassment. Oh, that's horror handwriting. And basically we tested one ad. It worked. It had really, really good numbers. And so then we did loads of different variation of that one ad, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of that sort of angle. I should probably put one ad / angle. And how we did those variation is we did through different sort of copy, different hooks, different music, we also had same ad, but different sort of order of how the clips were played. And that's what we did. We really went all in on that one single ad, and just did loads of different variation of that one ad because we saw it worked. But it's, again, really important that you don't stop testing new angles, because this is a small pocket of an ICP and it'll have creative fatigue. And so you want to have a new angle when that does happen. So you're basically not putting all your eggs into one basket. So that's about 80%. And this should be about 20%. So always testing new angles. And yeah, that's basically how we went from 2 to 3 figures, all about understanding your ICP at a really good level. And you'll hear this everywhere. You gotta like be at one with your ICP, and you can really do this for Claude as well. It's extremely powerful. So you can really convey that really well when it comes to the ad, because when they're seeing this ad, they're like, wow, this just resonates with me so much. Let me look into it at least. And then that's where your conversion rate is really important on the website. So more people check out, more people purchase. And yeah, so it all comes hand to hand, but about 80% of it is you just need to find that winning angle. Keep creating new angles, new test, and find that winning angle. And once you do, go all in, and then still do 20% of new angles, because you don't want to put all your eggs into sort of one basket. I hope you guys have found this somewhat valuable. If you have any sort of question, feel free to comment it down below. I'll make sure to answer every single comment and reply to every single one. Or if you want to ping me on Instagram, same thing. And yeah, I hope this was, again, somewhat valuable, because this is the whole point of this channel. And I'll see you guys in the next valuable video.